Hello Gunners, welcome to our Arsenal Football Club latest news video. In this video, you'll get all the latest news and updates on the team, including information on players, managers, and results. Arsenal's draw at home to Brentford was just the second time in 10 home games this season where they've dropped points, but, following the defeat at Everton last time out and the FA Cup exit to Manchester City, it adds to a worrying run of results at a crucial juncture of the season. With City coming to town on Wednesday, this is not the moment for Arsenal's performance levels to be falling away. They're operating on a higher level this term, but rival supporters will be chattering about their drop out of the top 4 race last season in the days to come. Perhaps it will play on the players' minds too. Mikel Arteta defended his team's display on Saturday, pointing to the fine margins and a debatable offside call going against his players. But there's no denying Arsenal right now are not at the standard they were at when they won the thriller with Manchester United a few weeks ago. David Raya in the Brentford goal was well protected by a determined defence, and Arsenal seemed short of a spark in the final third. Perhaps it is time to release Leandro Trossard from the start, ahead of Gabriel Martinelli, who is without a goal contribution in his 5 Premier League appearances in 2023. At the other end, Brentford, like Everton last week, caused Arsenal real problems, and for the second game in a row Arteta's side conceded from a set piece and lost the overall XG battle. They could have had even bigger problems had Ivan Toney not smashed against the bar from a good first half opening. Man City let Arsenal off the hook last weekend, and the Gunners will be paying close attention at events over at the Etihad on Sunday, when their title rivals face Aston Villa. But regardless of that result, there is no escaping the enormity of the top two's meeting at the Emirates on Wednesday. City could come to the capital with a chance to go top for the first time since August. Arsenal will have to re-find their best level for this key moment in the campaign. In the first half of the season, the consistency of Arsenal's selection provided the foundation for their success. From pre-season through until January, manager Mikel Arteta was largely able to keep his preferred 11 on the field. But after taking just 1 point from their last 2 Premier League games, Arteta must be toying with whether to twist rather than stick. The timing is awkward. Arsenal's next game is against title rivals Manchester City. The Arsenal manager must now decide whether to diverge from his plan A for the biggest game of the season. Arsenal's consistency of selection took them to the top of the league. To be champions, however, they might need to evolve. Arteta has selected the 2 most common starting 11s in the 2022-23 Premier League. He has fielded his best 11, featuring Gabriel Jesus 6 times, and an alternate lineup with Eddie Nketiah swapped in for the injured Jesus on a further 6 occasions. This, in theory, seemed like an appropriate chance to mix it up. Arsenal came into the Brentford match off the back of a defeat at Everton, and at the start of a run of 3 games in a week. Yet Arteta chose to deploy Plan A again, declining the opportunity to rotate. Having been held to a 1-1 draw, will he go back to the drawing board? In his post-match press conference, Thomas Frank was asked whether the consistency of Arteta's selection makes it easier to prepare for facing them. In a way, yes, he replied. But they are very good at what they are doing, so it's about eliminating their threats. Gabriel Martinelli and Bukayo Saka, we were very aware of doubling up on them. There was one moment when we didn't have everything bang on, and that was the moment they scored. Though Saka was able to wriggle away from Brentford's attention for one critical moment, Martinelli's threat was largely snuffed out. He was swapped out for Leandro Trossard after 62 minutes, a relatively early change by Arteta's standards. The Belgian's goal from the bench makes him the most obvious candidate to force his way into the team. He had a strong case to start before the Brentford match. Now it is almost irresistible. Arteta was philosophical, or perhaps just diplomatic, about Martinelli's untimely dip in form. Every player has his moment, he said. We moved Martinelli for Trossard because Trossard in those spaces is so good and composed. He's constantly faking movements and playing forward. He's got a great smell for where the ball is going to land. The manager will now be mulling over what constitutes the right choice for Wednesday night. The complexion of the City match has been changed by Arsenal's past 2 league results. Arteta's selection will be hugely important. Certain things are out of the coach's hands. For a team needing more variety, the unavailability of Jesus is becoming increasingly problematic. The Brazilian embodies variety, offering a multifaceted threat. When Arsenal's collective game is suppressed, he has the individual ability to make a difference. His capacity to combine in wide areas also nullifies some of that double marking. Nketiah has performed admirably, but Arsenal are beginning to feel Jesus' absence more keenly. There is no shame in that. He was outstanding in the first half of the season. Arsenal have lost a special player. Sooner or later, it was inevitable they would suffer as a consequence. Arteta will also be desperate to get Emile Smith-Rowe back as soon as possible. It is not just in the opponent's box that Arsenal need to improve. Ivan Toney punctuating a game of penalty box head tennis with the equalizer means Arteta's team have now conceded goals from set-piece scenarios in each of their past 3 league games. Arteta clearly felt the goal was offside but accepted this as an area where Arsenal must tighten up if they are to win the title. "You want to improve in every area," said Arteta. "We are the 3rd best team in terms of defensive set pieces. We want to be the best. We discussed that today. This is their biggest strength. We controlled them quite well. Brentford, like Everton, had 5 players across the midfield, and were happy to sit deep and defend their box." Frank insisted he had not studied that game in preparation, but did say he watched 20 minutes of Arsenal's 0-0 draw with Newcastle United on January 3rd. Arsenal are not a surprise to anyone anymore, and teams are prepared to be pragmatic at the Emirates. Brentford had chances to win the game, but it was their capacity to stop Arsenal from playing their way that was most impressive. These kinds of dogged defensive displays are a puzzle Arteta and the team must learn to crack. And so to Wednesday's game against the champions that Arteta's side hoped to dethrone. Frank's blueprint for facing Arsenal demanded his players be cool, brave and aggressive. That will be precisely the kind of messaging Arteta will be attempting to imprint on his players over the next few days. An already huge game now somehow feels even bigger. Let us know your opinion about the subject discussed in the video, comment below and help us broaden the discussion. Your opinion is very important to us. Thank you for watching.